Hello everyone, it's Mike from Chess Lifestyle, and today we should really be training 67 minutes of chess. So let me adjust this very slightly. So 67 minutes of training, we're continuing the Woodpecker grind. I would like to share with you very briefly one moment in my league match yesterday. I was playing for Atherton in the Manchester Chess League, which I've never played in before. And basically, I'm quite disappointed at this one moment in the game, where basically both of us had a mutual blind spot in the weirdest way, because it's really not a difficult calculation to be had. But this was the position. And, I've been playing for this minority attack, and yeah, my opponent decided to just try and alleviate the pressure immediately with b5. And the calculation that I missed was I thought that knight b4, hitting c6 could be met with this move, rook a7. And if I were to take the pawn on c6, then black can bail out by taking on a4. And my line was like, if the rook takes, then the pawn takes, and then that's good for black, because black will have this protected passed pawn. But of course, the rook is just hanging, and I can't work out like if I got the wrong position, and maybe we did see this, or if we just had this mutual blindness, because after the game, we analyzed this position and we brought up this knight b4, and he said exactly the same thing as me. So I'm not sure what exactly we missed, but I genuinely think that we just had a blind spot, that we both thought rook a7 was good, and we thought that this position was just good for black, just forgetting that the rook is hanging. So long story short, basically I want to keep up this calculation practice, because clearly I'm still making mistakes in basic combinational play. For the record, actually, in this position, even better than taking on a4 is just to take on a7, actually. Oh, of course, if I take on a4, then they'll need to take back with the rook, and we get this kind of situation, which, also looks good. But apparently, objectively, knight a7 is even better to take back this way. Which I hadn't seen. So I missed a very good chance to play the knight b4, and black still has some drawing moves, but it's getting a bit harder, finding the precise moves to draw. Because basically that structure is gonna fall apart, right? So this is what I was trying to play for, and then missed my chance to do so, and then the final position was a draw, so I drew the game. But yeah, let's get into some training then. Let's practice our calculation. I'm actually pretty tired, but let's give it our best shot, and get some practice in. So we've got around 120 to go. let's get to work. Okay, so Van Whaley against Anand, black to play. Okay, so we've got 2 rooks knight and 5 pawns against 2 rooks bishop and 4 pawns. So bishop for knight, and we've got a pawn extra. King safety wise, both kings have like a window on the f-file. Probably that king looks a little bit weak, given, I don't know, there's potential for this bishop to come under fire. In terms of piece tension, maybe this guy is passed. There's tension on the bishop, double protection from the rooks, potential to come in. This guy's a passed pawn as well. Maybe this is a bit weak. X-rays, we've got X-ray to the king. Maybe potential for another X-ray. There's pressure on the 7th rank already. Then loose pieces, loose pawn, loose pawn. Loose rook, loose rook. So all of black's pieces are loose. Okay, so what candidate moves do I have? What checks do I have? Got rook takes bishop. What captures do I have? I've got knight takes e4. I've also got rook takes bishop. What threats do I have? I've got rook b1. d3. Rook b2, probably not, but you never know. So, okay, let's start with our checks. So rook takes, nothing here. Captures, knight e4, pawn e4. Don't see why this is useful just yet. So what about threats? If we play rook b1, I mean, we're adding pressure, but, you know, where's the finishing blow? I mean, I guess d3 then becomes a bigger threat. But it does beg the question whether we can go d3 now. Maybe they can try and get out of it with tempo with rook c8. Yeah, I'm not sure I like that. So what if rook b1, if I got another move in d3, then I think this is good, because if rook c8, then king f7, rook check, king here. And I feel like d2 is a serious threat. Although they can always play king f2, maybe. And that's even giving myself an extra move. So what about d3 immediately? Rook c8, rook takes, and then king f7. But I mean, what if they just go king f2? Then there's nothing going on. I guess d3, rook c8. What if I just ignore it and go king f7? So I don't think they can take my rook. So what if they give a check and we just leave the tension between the rooks? Well, now they can take, actually. That's probably good. Unless I've got d2. Does that win a piece, actually? Because then if king f2, then I can promote, they take, and then I take. So then I'm up a knight. So maybe d3, rook c8, king f7, rook c7, king g6. And they still can't take my rook. But they can just play a move like king f2. And again, I don't have a way to cause some problems. What to do when we've got no more ideas? Have I looked at all of my candidates, actually? Maybe I'm trying too hard to, like, win material. So d3, rook c8, rook takes, king f7, king f2. Yeah, I don't see it. I was trying to find a way to like make this pawn get to the end somehow, but yeah, I really don't get this. I mean, I feel like d3's got to be the best try. Like, at least it creates a threat. King f2. Oh, again, d3, rook c8, king f7, rook c7, king g6. And still king f2. Does having this extra rook change something? Maybe then, after king f2, I could play rook b2? But even then, I'm not convinced. The line I'm looking at was d3, rook check, king here, rook check, king here, king f2, and then rook b2, in the attempt to just try and get this pawn home. But even there, they can take and I queen. Not convinced at all. But I feel like d3 has to be tried. Like, I don't see anything else that makes any sense. Which is a real shame. Unless... no. I mean, it's got to be tried. It's got to be tried. Like, there's nothing else to try. And then there's a debate of whether it's better to try this king f7 or to trade once. Like king f7, I don't think they can take my rook. I think then I'll just take him and I'm winning. But my problem is like rook check, king g6. And then king f2. Just to get out of a pin. And I haven't seen the problem with that. Like, somehow it feels better to keep the extra rook. That's my feeling. It does feel a bit riskier to keep the extra rook, though, in case I've miscalculated something. It's definitely going to be to do with pushing this pawn and having these two options. Like, that feels like a theme that I've seen before. King g6, king f2. Maybe I can sack the rook. And when rook takes, I can push, threatening to take. And if you block, then I can take, and then I'm up a piece. That's what I missed, I think. I think I can do that. I think that works. King f7, rook c7, king g6. King f2. Rook takes c1. Yeah, rook takes c1, d2. Yeah, this looks very correct. Yeah. Okay, that's just it then. Nice. And rook takes. Yeah, that was the move I missed. I mean, I got up to this point and I just couldn't see a move, and that's why I need to always go back to like the forcing moves at this moment. But yeah, that's nice that I got there eventually. Yeah, rook c1. Oh, did Arab get it? d3, rook c8, king f7, rook c7, king g6. King f2, rook c1, rook c1, d2, rook d1, rook c8. Let's go, Arab. Nice. Good stuff. Good stuff. I don't know who got there first, though. It was probably a close one. Okay, let's keep this up. So, next one. Anand against Ljubojevic. Blindfolded. That's a flex. Let's see if Ljubojevic loses. Well, of course. this guy always loses. Like, we need Josh to come on the stream to confirm this. But yeah, Ljubljanic always loses. He's always playing like the top players though. But yeah, blindfold. White to play. So we've got Queen, Rook, Rook, Bishop, Bishop, Knight again, with 5 pawns against Queen, Rook, Rook, Bishop, Bishop, Knight, and 5 pawns. Different pawn structure though. We've definitely got some huge pressure on the king side. They've got some pressure on the queen side. Definitely feels like our pressure is looking nicer at a glance. Okay, so yeah, I take so long doing this process. I feel like in a game I'm a bit more locked in. I can be a bit faster, but just yeah, head in the clouds. So piece tension, right? So there's pressure on g7, queen and rook. It's kind of like X-ray pressure through these pawns. Maybe X-ray pressure to the back rank. Pressure on a knight, some defense. Maybe some X-ray pressure through this way to these squares. Pawn is covering these squares. No sacrifices on a3, which is a good thing for us. So it actually feels like we have some time. Although it does seem like we might just have a knockout blow immediately. Okay, loose pieces. Loose bishop. And loose bishop. Okay. But probably not relevant. So let's begin with our checks. Got queen takes g7. What about captures? Also only queen takes g7. What about threats? So f5, e5, knight d5, h6, queen g6. All potential threats in the position. So let's start with queen g7, bishop g7. Rook g7, they don't necessarily have to take back. If they do, there's no follow-up, so okay, not this. There are no other captures, so threats. Okay, h6, this does come with a big threat. It's threatening to give check, double check, and then checkmate. So h6, how can they defend? If they play g6, it feels like f5 should be the natural move to just break this all up. I wouldn't be able to say for certainty that it's winning though. Because what would they play here? What if they play a move like rook g8? Do we actually have a win? Yeah, I don't see it. So h6, g6 feels like a really good remedy. Knight d5. Pawn takes. Don't really see it. Don't really see it. I mean, basically, we do have this huge threat on g7, right? And the bishop's defending it. So if we could find a way to displace it, that would be great. So maybe some e5 in combination with this, or e5 immediately. So e5, they cannot move the bishop because of mate. So they have to take. We take back, and so what? They just take. To be fair, I guess e5, if they take, we can play knight e4. Maybe that's difficult for them to deal with. If they then play rook g8 to cover the pawn. Take. Pawn takes. Do we have a move there? e5 and knight e4 definitely feels really good. But rook g8. Maybe now we go h6. And now we don't have g6 because we can take on f6. I'm a bit scared about my king, but probably looks okay. E5 knight e4 definitely feels like the right way to go. I guess e5, pawn takes knight e4. They could go queen d8 as well. Because then if I remove the bishop, they take back with the queen and protect g7. Maybe that's unclear. Wait, e5 pawn takes, what about queen e4? Didn't consider that idea. King g8 maybe? Queen h7, king f8. Maybe bishop check? Yeah, and if king e8 was queen g8, if bishop e7 is queen h8. So e5 in combination with queen e4. That probably is it. Yeah, I like that a lot. I think we can play it. I didn't see a single defense. Yeah, nice. We got there. Also, full points of your idea was knight e4. Ah, knight d6 I didn't see. Rats. Did not see knight d6 as a move. So okay, knight e4 is also good. That's pretty nice. Knight e4, I don't think I had a clear answer. Oh, rook g8, queen g6. Oh, I did not see queen g6. That's very nice. I was just saying that I didn't see a win after taking. But I did say h6 here, right? Yeah, and on g6 I can take on f6. So that is +4. So that's good. But yeah, queen e4 is just even stronger. Yeah. Nice. 2 for 2. Good stuff. If e5 knight takes e5 asks Arav, I mean, I think we just win a piece. Like, I don't know. Like, probably that's better, but yeah, knight takes e5 is best, right? But we just take the piece and then we're happy. I mean, sure, it's still a game. It's definitely not over, but yeah, I think you can stop calculating here reasonably. Okay, let's say bishop takes, then I'm putting pressure here. Guess you probably do need to be a bit precise. Ah, interesting. Bishop d4. I guess the idea is if they take it, then queen e4. That's super cool. Because if you try queen e4 right now, then they just go f5. And the bishop's not hanging. But here we give up the bishop, but then win it back. And yeah, given we're up in points, then we can kind of play this more calmly. Trade some pieces. But no, this does look somewhat unclear. Like Axel Smith should definitely mention knight e5 and provide some analysis. Bishop d4 is disgusting. I don't know, what would you prefer after bishop e5? Because I mean I'm terrified of bishop takes c3. Like what? Queen f2 and they just take? Yeah, then we have to find some either rook c1 or h6. Rook c1's actually quite nice. Rook c1 I can get behind. h6 would make me nervous. But yeah, no, this looks completely fine. I guess queen b7 might be something. Queen b7. Yeah, and we can't take back with the rook. Yeah, but this is difficult. This is actually not clear at all. Yeah, maybe I should be a bit more careful before writing this off just because, you know, white's a piece up. Yeah, would stress me out in a game. Okay, let's keep going. Next variation. Okay, so we've got queen, rook, rook, knight, knight, bishop. 6 pawns against queen, rook, rook, knight, knight, bishop. 7 pawns. So we're pawn down. Otherwise, equal material. Backwards c pawn as well. which if it gets lost, then these guys get passed, which would be very annoying. Their king looks a little bit trapped, and the knights are not in the best place to help defend. Queen is on the line, knight is kind of entering. Definitely looks like there's some potential. What else is there to note? So, tension, bit of pressure on c6. We are securing it with a bishop. Tension on h2, of course. Ideas of hopping the knight in. Pawn storm ideas, for sure. This rook is looking very awkward. So, okay, what loose pieces do they have? They got one loose piece. Two loose piece. Okay, so suddenly I'm looking at this idea of like h3, knight g4, and then queen f6. That looks like a nice way to try and add pressure. Something like that. Okay, so let's begin with our checks. So, okay, we got check on h2. That's the only check. Captures. Not too sure. Rook takes b3 looks horrendous. And threats, probably knight g4 is even more threatening than h3, but both should be considered. I guess bishop h3, bishop g4, pushing g4. Queen g3, probably horrendous. Anything to exploit this guy? Not really. Knight g6 feels quite slow. So okay, let's begin with our checks. Queen h2, king h2. Knight g4, probably king back to g1. No follow-up. Unless you push h3, but I don't believe it. So, okay, threats, knight g4. Any kind of h3 versus queen h2 checkmate. Maybe they can try and push f4. But f4, I mean, it blunders e3 at the very least. With tempo. I mean, they could play queen c3 with tempo back, but we can always trade with tempo, so, you know, knight g4. Knight g4, g3 perhaps. What was my idea? It was queen f6, wasn't it? Knight g4, g3, queen f6. Doesn't seem easy to deal with at all. Especially given they can't push the f-pawn without making e3 weak. Knight g4, g3, queen f6 I'm quite happy with. Knight g4... Are there any other defenses? We were a pawn down, but I think we can just go for it. I think it looks really good. And then queen f6 here. Like, how do they defend against this? Nah, queen f6 is just very strong. That's it. Not even a written explanation from Axel Smith, just winning. Even stronger, full points and almost a bonus point, is attacking f4. What? Oh, if f4. Knight e6. Okay, just adding pressure. ef3, knight f3, knight e3. So, okay, f4, can you not just play knight takes e3 first? Do I get deducted a mark? No, knight takes e3 is completely fine. What does it say knight e6 is best? Okay, fair enough. Stockfish is just slow. Oh, no, I just can't read. Knight e6 is top move. Fair enough. But knight takes e3 is also good. Yeah, that's so weird that like Axel Smith doesn't mention knight takes e3. Like, it's by far more natural than taking on f3 and letting white bring a piece to the defense. Really weird why knight e3 wasn't shown. The only explanation I can imagine is like Axel Smith like turned on the engine. E takes f3 was his move, and then he turned on the engine and was like, "Oh, knight e6 is top move," and then just failed to realize knight takes e3 is even possible. That's my only logical explanation why it's not mentioned. But yeah, okay, we got full points for this. Yeah, so Arrow got knight g4, g3, queen f6, good. So Pavel actually goes one step further. Welcome, Pavel, to the stream. So knight g4, g3, queen f6. f3, yeah, f3 we just take over the pawn, right? Nothing more to say. Cool, okay, let's do another one. So Anand Bologan, white to play. Lots going on in this position. So we got queen, rook, rook, knight, knight, bishop, and 5 pawns against queen, rook, rook, knight, bishop, bishop, and 5 pawns. So black has bishop for knight. And again, we're spacing out because effort, and we don't like effort. Piece tension. Okay, so there's tension on h7. King is kind of trapped in the corner. Our knight is also being threatened though. His rook is holding some stuff together, also pressuring a lot, but maybe also somewhat vulnerable. Queen is x-raying our king. Knight is like awful, needs some time to get back into play. Bishop is pressuring h3, covering a lot of squares. Bishop is covering some squares. Rook's covering some squares. X-ray pressure. Jesus Christ, what is this position? Oh, God. I don't have the mental fortitude to play such positions. Like, I'd be so stressed. Okay, so loose pieces, loose rook, loose queen, loose bishop. Okay, why not just queen h4? I know we're skipping all the checks, but like we're threatening mate. And if they push, then I was trying to make ideas of rook here work. Which is actually an x-ray I didn't mention, weirdly enough. That was the dream. The dream is something like if h6, then sack the queen, pawn takes, and then just say you got unstoppable mate on g8. Somehow looks really strong. What was the defense actually after queen h4, h6, queen takes, pawn takes, pawn takes? How on earth do you stop mate? Because bishop g7, just pawn g7 is mate. So queen h4. How else can they defend against queen h7? I guess queen h4 they can take the knight. And do we have a particularly strong follow-up? No. No, no, no. So yeah, maybe queen h4 just take the knight, and this is why we don't tunnel vision. Let's actually be methodical. So, what checks do we have? We don't have any. What captures do we have? We got knight h7, queen takes e5. Okay, what about threats? We got queen h4, queen f5 also threatens mate, but probably not safe. g6 maybe, knight f5. Right. I don't know. I don't know how to lock in. I don't know how to lock in when we're just training. It's not like a serious game. But it's like I need to keep reminding myself, like, you know, if we've practiced focusing hard, then it's easier to do in a real game. So let's really try. So okay. Let's look at our capture first. Knight h7, king h7. Knight h7, king h7. g6 perhaps. Not too sure. Like knight 7, king h7, g6 just pawn takes, I think is fine. Don't believe it. Alright, queen takes e5, pawn takes e5. Don't really see the follow-up. And those are all the captures, so now for the threats. Queen h4, the problem was pawn takes f6. That's what we established. Oh, God. Actually, too tired for this shit. G6. G6 looks fine, but maybe we've got some follow-up. Just F takes, I think, is fine. What about knight F5? Knight F5, if they were to take the knight on F6, now I feel like pawn takes. I feel like we do have some pieces, but it's still not crystal clear how we actually progress. I really wish I could make queen h4 work. But pawn takes just seems too strong. I wish I could involve this bishop as well. This would be lovely, but how on earth do we ever push the e-pawn? I mean, I guess this rook is a bit vulnerable. Maybe a move like knight c6. That would be funny if knight c6 is the move. Because material's equal, right? Why not just knight c6? I guess they can take on f3. Sorry, take on f6. Then I could just take and give check and then go queen check. With mate. So could knight c6 be the move? But knight c6, it just kind of feels like I'm playing on the wrong side. What if they just take... They've got threats of their own, right? Which I didn't really understand before. I probably should have seen that. I'd have to sack my bishop then. I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm running out of time. I feel like I've looked at everything at least once. Big time running out of time. I think I've got to try knight c6. I really don't feel like it. I feel like it's wrong. Let's go with this. There's g6. How is g6 working though? Just f takes. Isn't this what I said? Like, knight h7, king h7, g6 here. Did I say this? I wasn't impressed with knight h7 at all. I don't even remember what line I calculated. But whatever I calculated, I wasn't impressed. How many people found g6? Did not appreciate g6 at all. I still don't. I still don't get it. g6 just f takes. Like, what on earth have you achieved? Like, if anything, f takes basically just, allows his rook to, like, cover the defense better. g6 f takes? What am I missing? Oh, the bishop is loose. Why did I... So this is a problem, right? When I evaluate, and I'm considering these loose pieces, I think sometimes it just goes in one ear and out the other, because if I had understood that the bishop is loose, then I can connect the dots, right? I can go like g6, f takes g6. My short-term memory is so bad. It's like, I don't even remember that the bishop is loose, even though I looked at it 2 seconds ago. So g6, f takes g6, I did not register. But there's like... And I guess I didn't identify the x-ray pressure here. So it's like, I needed to see that. g6, f takes g6. With this open now I have some hope. But still, what to play? What is the best discovery for the knight? Probably like knight d7? Maybe knight d7 is just good. Hits the rook as well. Yeah, g6, f takes knight d7, I think is the move. Let's try it. Yep, that's the line. Shit. And let's see how bad my rook c6 was. Yeah, it's just details of the position I'm just not able to see. It's not like I'm not able, it's just... I have to actually really exert myself to see it, which is annoying. Knight c6 was no good, just gf6, and black stays on top. Okay, engine's coming around to the idea. It does make sense that white is slightly better here. Yeah, it's definitely unclear. What a line. Knight takes, pawn takes, queen g5. Queen e4 only move. King h2. And queen g6 defends. Wild. Wow, and queen h4 is also not... What is the threat if the queen just moves? Oh, then there is like more pressure. God, this is actually very close to working. I think I put queen h4 as my answer, which is just pretty trash. gf6, gf6, c2, bishop takes, rook takes. Okay, it's like only moves for black as well. Oh, rook c2 is not even correct. Rook c3 is needed, which is a very hard move to see. If rook takes c2, knight c2, queen c2, rook g1. Wow. And I guess king h1 maybe is coming. Yeah, actually there's some problems. So king h2 gets hit by this. King h1 gets hit by this. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, g6 is very simple. It's very simple. Once you understand that, you've got this as a theme. I guess I was so focused on like the attacks like in front of the king. I kind of forgot that there's potential to attack from the side. I think that's what it was. So what are people saying? Queen h4 was gut. Yeah, that was my gut as well. If gf6, gf6, threat of rook g8 incoming. How does black stop it? I guess you just don't have enough. And black's got very own threats. g6, fg6, knight d7 from Arav. Very nice. And then Frizz with the confirmation of g6, hg6, queen h4, and g6, fg6, knight d7. Yeah, I think I understood that g6, hg6 wasn't playable. Yeah. Yeah, queen h4 only move. g6. G6 and G. How do I get rid of this? Okay, that's just bugged. Brilliant. So G6. If they take on F6, I presume queen takes. Yeah, and then if bishop takes, then queen d8. Yeah. Oh crap, my phone just fell off, which I'm using for chat. Yeah, I didn't consider the X-ray. That's sad. Arav definitely needs less coffee. Needs less ADHD as well. Would I get cancelled for that? If I have ADHD myself, then probably I can't get cancelled, right? G6, fg6, knight d7. Very nice. Pavel says, I lost this weekend 60 plus 30 over the board in 20 minutes. You're not missing that much. That's savage. If you have the moves, Pavel, you can post it in chat and I can try read the moves. I'm Sherry2005. Welcome to the stream and welcome Iche as well. What is your FIDE now? My FIDE, I've played a couple FIDE events in February. One didn't go so well. One went pretty well. And I played some Foncia as well. I played a lot of chess this month. So I actually have no idea what my FIDE will be. I think it's going to be like above like 2080, 2090. I think that's going to be roughly where my FIDE is at. I think my FIDE temporarily crossed 2100, but then went back down. It was very annoying. Like my final round of Blackpool, I was playing a player who's a national master, 2250, young guy, you know, really training chess hard. And he's really good as well. And his FIDE is 2050. His FIDE is lower than mine. And he literally played a flawless game and crushed me. So that was unfortunate. But to be honest, I'm not even that fussed about FIDE right now. Like I'm more focused on the ECF grind. Wanna hit that NM. NM would be very sweet. Okay. Anand against Ubilava. White to play. We've got queen, rook, rook, 6 pawns, queen, rook, rook, knight, and 4 pawns. So they have an extra point. But what's actually going on in the position? Our king is a bit weak with the open H file, maybe attacks from the back rank. But not so easy for black's pieces to come in. White, on the other hand, yeah, the black king's actually fairly stable with all this protection, but, you know, there's potential for some sacrifices. We've also got this very dangerous D pawn. In terms of X-rays and pressure, like, there's lots of pressure on this knight. X-ray to G6, potentially. X-ray to the queen. X-ray back to the queen. Support for the pawn. Loose pawn. That's being attacked. In terms of loose pieces, loose queen, loose rook. I think that's all the X-rays. Maybe I'm missing something. X-ray to this square. X-ray to the king. Fine. So what checks do we have? We've got queen f7, queen f6. What captures do we have? Rook f6 as well. What threats do we have? Maybe d7. Maybe g3. Yeah, don't see much else. So, checks, captures, threats. Well, yeah, we just did that. So, okay, let's start with our checks. So, if queen takes f7, king takes f7, the only idea I can see is d7. The knight is pinned, so that does look promising. But maybe they can just bring their rook back. What are we really doing there? Doesn't seem like enough. So queen f6, rook f6. Again, d7 can be met by this move. Don't really believe in it. And those are all our checks. So captures. Rook takes f6. That looks promising. Maybe I just take back with the rook. And then I can give a check and they can't block with the rook because I pick up the rook. So rook f6 and I give this check. If they can't block with the rook and they have to move their king, then I win the rook. When I win the rook, I also protect b2, which is very nice to prevent any counterplay when the queen enters. So rook f6, rook f6, rook e7, rook f7, rook, queen takes h4. Queen takes b2, but then there's no more h-rook, right? So we're free to escape if there's some back rank. So rook f6 should just win. That's what I'm saying. Let's play it. Good. Munch. We'll take it. Not too sure why that's in the intermediate section among like moves like, you know, that bishop c1 towel move, or like I actually did this one off stream. That was this like Kramnik. Who was Kramnik playing? Kramnik an and game, where Kramnik miscalculated this super long line due to this like really deep move. It's like, you know, how can you put this and that in the same category? Is wild. What are people saying? What does being an ableist mean? I don't know what an ableist is. Getting suspended. Oh, almost getting suspended. Welcome, Jack, to the stream. How did your Blitz games go last night? Ha! Last night or this morning? What do you want to call it? Yeah, I was playing chess at a degenerate time with some mates, which were very questionable. Let's just put it that way. But you know, we're just vibing. We're just vibing. That's how it goes. Rook f6, rook f6, queen e7. Yeah. With the skewer, you mean with the fork? So Pavel gives the his game that he lost in 20 minutes. Appreciate him sending. So let's try and visualize this. d4, d5, c4, e6, queen's gambit, knight f3, knight f6, knight c3, bishop e7, bishop f4, castles e3, b6. So that's like some main line. Bishop d3, bishop b7, castles a6. Okay. Knight e5, knight d7, h3, Black pushes c5. Okay, this all seems reasonable. cd5, ed5, rook c1, rook c8, a4. Don't like a4. cd4, ed4. Rook e8, rook e1. Let's see if I can understand how the game was lost. h6. Queen f3. Knight f8. Bishop f5. Knight e6. And knight f7. No, I don't have that. I don't have that at all. Knight f7. I guess if king takes f7, there's some nasty discovery. But I don't know what that nasty discovery would be. Is there a rook on e1? There is. So what? Knight f7, king f7, and then just bishop takes e6 double check. Maybe that's the point. So Pavel was black. That's kind of, I don't know, these lines, I feel like I would tend to avoid, because if white's going into them, then they clearly know some stuff, and like it's just uncomfortable. I think if you are gonna play Queen's Gambit Decline, there's like this cool like Nakamura variation, like the main line. So instead of like playing after e3, instead of playing b6, just play for the immediate c5, enter that main line, and then there's this like rook e8 from Nakamura that I don't think it quite works, but it's super deep, and like I feel like most white players probably don't know it. Pavel says, but still because of K40, I gained 47 points in 4 games. That's wild. 47 is beautiful. Yeah. Okay, let's keep going. So what? 15 more minutes to go. Let's grind this out. Okay, so Anand against Dreyev. We got Queen Rook Rook Bishop against Queen Rook Rook Knight. 1 3 4 5 6. 1 3 4 5 6. Our king has some potential back rank issues. Their king has some potential big attacks. Rook is also on the line of the king. Checks, captures, threats. Not yet, you idiot. Look at the tension first. So there's bishop pressuring g7, queen pressuring g7, rook pressuring on the h-file. Rooks are staring at each other. Rook defends. Pawn is supporting queen. Queen supports knight. Queen supports knight. Knight is attacking queen. Only just saw that. Jesus Christ. Yeah, got to be very careful though, right? Because like I can't like get rid of this to go for mate when there's like mate from the opponent. Fine. So loose pieces. No loose pieces, but this is hanging. This is under pressure. This is under pressure. Pressure. Right, so checks, captures, threats. So checks, we got bishop g7, queen g7. Captures, we got rook h5, rook d8. And threats, not too sure. Appreciate the donation from Jack. That's crazy. $4.99 is wild. I think this might be the first English pound sterling donation as well. So appreciate that. Lock in. Okay, actually lock in. So when going through his candidate moves, I'm realizing that also rook d8 is actually a check, not just a capture. And that move was starting to stand out to me because I was like, well, that avoids the problem of losing our rook. So I thought maybe if rook d8, I thought maybe now it makes a difference, right? I can play rook h5 and then mate on g7, but I still get mated. So okay, let's go through one by one. So checks, yeah, rook d8. I'll come back to a bit later. Let's start with like this terrible move. Queen takes g7. Surely that doesn't work. Just knight takes g7. Rook h6, king g8. Yeah, there's nothing there. Nothing there. So bishop g7, knight g7. Rook h6, king g8. Still don't see it. So okay, rook d8, rook d8. Does this make some difference? Maybe rook d8, rook d8. Maybe the rook is loose. Maybe I've got like queen h4 or something. Is that like a fork? Maybe that's a fork. But it's not really, right? Because the rook can just move. And if I try and win the knight, queen takes, rook takes, and then there's rook checkmate again. But if I go rook d8, and I attack the queen, attack the rook, and they move the rook, then maybe I can then go bishop g7? On the point being that after knight takes, now queen h6, king g8, and queen h8 is mate. But bishop g7, maybe there's just king takes. I don't know. So, okay, let's keep going with our candidates. Maybe we come back to this rook d8 in a bit. Captures, what, any additional captures? Rook h5 is just made by rook d1. So what about threats? Queen h4 immediately, I guess, is a threat. But then they can take with check. I take back, and then they take my bishop. That's no good. So, okay, the only idea that's actually making any sense is rook d8, and try and exploit this loose rook. Maybe move order matters? Rook d8, bishop g7 first. If knight g7, then queen h4? If they move the rook, I am threatening queen h6, queen h8. So that looks good. Rook d8, bishop g7. Bishop g7... They could move the king, let's say king h7. And have we really achieved enough? I guess I can go queen h4 anyway. If rook d7... I don't know. Rook d8, rook d8? I'm trying my best to lock in. It's just fucking hard. I have so many excuses running through my head why I am incapable of solving this. Rook d8, bishop d7. I don't think that can be taken. I think like king h7 is needed. And are we already happy with that outcome? Queen h4, like rook d7 or something. You can always drop the bishop back to d4. Like this looks very good. I mean, the king is still weak. g4 is in the air. Like, I think that looks good, you know. Rook d8. Do they have alternatives? Rook d8, what if they play king h7? On king h7, at the very least, I can play rook h5, I think. To get rid of the threat on the queen. They take back, and then at the very least, we can like save our rook. And we've won an exchange. Right? No, we've won a piece. Rook takes d8, king h7, rook h5, queen h5, and we just move the rook back. Yeah, we're piece up. So rook d8 is forced. Bishop g7. I think knight takes. I think queen here is working. But you can't play queen g5 to protect the pawn and rook because I just take the queen and the pawn takes is pinned, right? I think this really works. I think we can go for it. So what? Rook d8, bishop g7. Oh, let's go. King h7 was even played, so I'm glad I looked at this move. And my logic was just queen h4 anyway. And I said that it's going to be enough. They still can't take on g7. Queen h4, if they play like rook d7, we just move the bishop back. And we're threatening g4. Alternative, okay, fine. Well, it's not going to be taking the knight because they're still mate. I don't know, queen h4 feels very good. What am I missing? Bishop h6 is tempting, but it's probably garbage. Just knight takes g3. I have no idea. If we're not playing this, I do not see a move. Unless it's like queen h2. But why would you ever play queen h2 instead of queen h4? Queen h2, I mean, they might even just be able to take with the king. Like, what could this be? It's not a move order thing, so I mean, our queen is literally hit, so... I don't understand. Unless it's claiming I can move my queen back here or something and then try and, like, play g4, but... Why not just queen h4? Like... That feels so simple. Maybe queen c7 to hit the rook this way? That might be it. That might be it. Yeah, and then wherever the rook moves, we save the bishop and game goes on. Yeah, queen c7's the move then. Yeah. Queen h4, rook d2, bishop h6. Can you not? Yeah, I guess rook d2 is actually very annoying. But then why after queen c7 was rook d2 not tried? Wouldn't rook d2 also be the logical move here? Rook g8, bishop d4, rook g2, queen b7. That doesn't feel like that decisive to me. I don't know. At least we got there in the end. Pretty much. So queen h4 with rook d2. Yeah, I did say bishop d4 idea with threats of g4, but I missed that rook d2 might be strong. Because queen c2 now is very scary. Rook b1. Could trade queens with queen e4. Rook b1 though. God, I'd be shitting bricks. And then queen e4 to bail out. That's scary. Queen c7 if rook d2. Again bishop d4, and what's the difference? Oh, this time the queen's just in an even more active place. So okay, maybe queen c7 is better. Yeah. But I have to say, okay, actually after this rook g8, bishop d4, definitely didn't feel like this is completely winning. Queen b7. Apparently it is. I mean, the queen, I guess, is also protecting b2, protects f3, threatening queen e4. I guess maybe this makes some sense. Bishop is covering g1. Yeah, I can believe this. Alright, how did people get on? What? How far back am I scrolling? I'm like losing brain cells reading about like I don't even know. Just some random Arab crap. Wait. Yeah, no, like this book, Woodpecker Method, it's just written chronologically, based on the order of the world champions. That's the organization of the book. I didn't know Frizz was from Nice, actually. I've been to Nice. Had some really good pizza on the beach. So while Arav was coming up with random French stuff, that's apparently not French stuff, we had a few people locking in, so let's check Jack's line. So Jack was saying bishop takes g7, knight takes, rook h6. So there is a line here. And I guess you meant rook dh1. Yeah, I actually missed this. I think in my calculation, it's just like there's nothing. But that's actually winning. But turns out King H7 is the killer and black's better. Glad I didn't get baited by this. And Frizz says, I don't see the difference between bishop g7 or rook takes d8 first. And Frizz says, Michael, your line, rook takes d8, king h7, rook h5. Oh, right, I missed checkmate. Whoops. I was just like, I'll save the rook and then I'm up a piece. But yeah, checkmate is obviously a bit better. Nice. Mr. Editor asks, what site is this? Yeah, Chessable Woodpecker. Thank you, Frizz, for clarifying. Because black can't play queen c2, you can take on f7. You mean at the end of the main line, right? When in this position. Right, yeah, there's no queen c2 because queen takes f7, exactly. Yeah. Solid. Okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen, training is officially over. Glad we put in another hour's shift, and hopefully at some point we will feel some tactical fluency. It's going to be a long while, and we've already made giant leaps since, I don't know, a year ago, since we've been doing this steady calculation. So I'll keep it up. I actually don't think I've got any chess planned coming up. It's actually kind of nice to just have a week off. And by a week off, I mean, my regular array of coaching chess lessons. But it feels like a week off compared to actually really, really trying super hard in these congresses and league matches. So yeah, nice to have a break. And we'll definitely try and think of making some plans for some chess soon because I don't want to leave it too long. I want to keep up the momentum because we're on a grind. We're on a grind for some ECF. So on that note, let me have a look at this last question by Polygon. Welcome. Oh, Polygon Gaming. Okay, welcome. It's exhausting being stuck at 2000 elo. Time for me to study the endgame, I guess. Lol. ... That's a wild comment. That's a whole therapy session to dissect. So I think I'm just gonna leave it. I don't know, man. You don't have to study endgames if you don't want to. Just study whatever you feel is right, and probably you'll make some gains. Like whatever motivates you, and calculation. If you're really stuck, then you really will gain. But no one likes calculating. It's a lot of effort. So on that note, have a good night and see you on Friday for another chess stream. Adios, guys. Bye.